on the work that was carried out by the present regime under the leadership of President Maithripala Sirisena. We have invited three guests today. We will be joined by Venerable Athuriliya Ratanathera, JHU Chairman and also Chairman of the Pivithuru Hitak organization shortly. Let me introduce our guest this evening, Minister of Skills Development and Vocational Training, Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe. Nice to have you on the show, Minister Samarasinghe. We also have on the show this evening Minister Faisal Mustafa, Local Government and Provincial Councils. He is the Minister in charge, who is the man on the spotlight as far as local government polls are concerned. A very good evening to you as well, Minister. Nice to have you on the show. Let's start off tonight's first round with Minister Samarasinghe. 1 year ago, many changes were spoken of. What are your thoughts about the progress as far as this government is concerned? The time starts now, Minister.
Well, President Maithripala Sirisena, as you know, was elected by the people on the 8th of January, and subsequently there was a interim government that was put in place. We from the SLFP really we were invited by the President to join in this national government, and as per the constitution of the SLFP, the Central Committee of the SLFP, which is the apex body that takes policy decision, was brought together, and a decision was taken to do so. So we now have a national government, so to speak, in place, where the two major political parties, for the first time in our political history, the two major political parties have come together and have put in place a cabinet, which is the government of this country as we speak today. And we are now working towards overcoming the many challenges that we had to undertake with this process in place. Now, when you look at how the President has given leadership to this national government, I would actually go back to the 8th of January when he was elected. Now, that was a major change that took place in our political fabric. I didn't vote for him.
Who did you vote for, Minister?
I voted for former President.
You didn't have faith
Mahinda
in the present President?
Pardon?
You didn't have faith in the present President?
No, it was a simple choice for me because President Mahinda Rajapaksa was the candidate of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, to which I belong, and he was the leader at that time, and my allegiance was to the leader of my political party. And we worked for him. Of course, no one expected him to lose, given what he did in terms of bringing the war to an end and the success that he enjoyed over many years. And we, of course, had a surprise when President Maithripala Sirisena was elected. Now, when you take it from there, I would say remarkable progress has been achieved under his leadership. The country is in a better position than what it was prior to January 8th, especially in the context of the international challenges that we had to face. The Geneva challenge was one such challenge that he had to immediately face when he was elected. And he overcame that challenge by being able to use his acceptance internationally to postpone that the presentation of the report in March to September. Come September, we saw a report without names being mentioned, being presented. There was also an accompanying resolution that was presented, which Sri Lanka decided to join forces with. And we had a unanimous adoption of that resolution in Geneva. And now there are several challenges that have come about as a result of this resolution being unanimously accepted. and we are now in the process of overcoming those challenges.
Thank you very much, Minister Mahinder Singh. He is the Minister of Skills Development and Vocational Training. I now move on to Minister Faiz Mustafa, Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government. Minister, you have a different story. You supported President Maithripala Sirisena before the presidential elections.
I did.
Are you satisfied the way in which things have progressed over the last 1 year? Or are you disgruntled?
I'm not only satisfied, I'm proud about the decision I took. We were part of a decision to change the destiny of this country. We were moving from being a secular state. And when President Maithripala wanted to take this decision, I also was a SLFPer. But I was, with regard to transparency, with regard to us being a secular state, there were many issues. And it was like a dynasty ruling the country. So we needed to move from family bandism. We as ministers had very little to say, and power was centralized. And when President Maithripala Sirisena asked me to join him in his mission, I opted to do so because I felt that we all had to take a decision for the betterment of the country. It was country before party. That was his thinking, that was my thinking. And then you would ask me whether we have achieved a lot. You have to understand that we are a government. No, Maithripala Sirisena is the president for 1 year, but after the general elections, it's about 4 months. So you have to judge the performance of the last 1 year. The greatest achievements in the 19th Amendment. Every president said when he came to power, during the election, I will abolish the executive presidency. But then he found some excuse not to move from that. But I was involved with President Maithripala Sirisena when we had negotiations with regard to the 19th Amendment. I, being a SLFP, I told him, sir, don't reduce your power. You are our only safety net. He said, I went before the people, I have to keep up to my pledge. And he established the commissions. He reduced his power so that the democratic fabric could be better. And I think I'm very proud about that. And no other leader would have done so. And also, as a media institution, you all were the only institution that supported, not Maithripala, I wouldn't say supported Maithripala, supported what's right. All other media channels wanted to sail with the regime. And like us, Sirasa was a bold station. And you all have to take credit for taking that decision in supporting this cause. Because these are great, I think this is a revolution. It's a revolution, and I think nobody expected President Maithripala to win, because the President Mahinda Rajapaksa defeated the LTTE. And generally, when you are a leader who are defeated, we had war for 30 years. So, I mean, we respected him for that. But then, people thought, time is right to move on. And President Maithripala Sirisena has achieved a lot. I mean, when you ask me that question, you as a journalist, Sirasa many a time has suffered with regard to media freedom. Nobody was brought to book. But today, as journalists, you all should be proud that you all could write anything, you all can do what you all want, you all can visit any part of the country. Earlier, to visit the north, there were restrictions. Why? And also, if you look at President Maithripala Sirisena, today we are the leader of the opposition from the TNA. We are the SLFP and the UNP forming a government together which nobody would believe. We are moving away from confrontational politics, and the statement what he made is, don't think about your party, think about the country. There are issues in working together, but we are being very progressive. During the economic summit, most of the economics, the best thing for Sri Lanka is having a national government, and we should be one step ahead than the rest.
Thank you very much, Minister Faiz Mustafa. Just to bring to the attention of our viewers, it was 7 years ago that the MTV MBC studio complex in Department was attacked. Those who did not have positions before, those who were in the opposition before, said that investigations should commence and condemned this attack in question with disgust. However, even after the 8th of January, those who are now in power has not done anything much, and this has to be put in record. We hope and pray the next few years at least the investigations that have been swept under the carpet will be brought to light, and those who attacked us will be brought before the law as well. Let me introduce our journalist now. Onto my immediate right is Nabi Majid. Nice to have you on board, Nabi.
As usual, always on the right.
Onto my immediate left is Faraz Shaukat Ali. a very long break for us. Nice to have you on the show, especially on Newsline.
A couple of
in the
shows,
morning.
yes.
And also, Sonali Vangabaduge onto my far left today. Unfortunately, not onto my immediate left this time around, but onto my far left. But Sonali, thank you very much for joining us this evening as well. I open the floor for questions from our journalists. Let's start off with Sonali.
Thanks, Shamir. Mr. Mustafa, my first question is to you. Now, Foreign Minister Mangala Samaravira has said that a domestic consultation process will begin next week. This is all well and good, but just last week, social media was rife with yet another effort to create racial tensions and victimize minority communities. We're just talking about a few bad apples, and that is always the case. Visiting victimized communities after something has been done is being reactive, but what we need is proactive measures. So what is being done by the government to catch hold of these racist elements and arrest them, or otherwise won't it be too late?
I think you have to be proactive in taking those who are involved in racial incidents to book, but you have to look at it from what it was in the past. Today, racial incidents have reduced. There are incidents, police have to be more proactive. But, right, all what you say is right. Much more has to be done. But from if you look at the past, I mean, it was state-sponsored. Earlier, you had racist elements going into houses and putting their views across and preventing another from practicing their religion. What is wrong, but I agree with you, more has to be done, especially on TV. Some of these racist elements, the statements they make, they have to be brought to book.
Also on social media, isn't there a mechanism through which these racist elements can be limited, curtailed, curbed?
Yeah, but earlier they were blocking websites. During the past regime, then there was the allegation of media freedom. So, I mean, restricting websites, blocking sites, using that course of action, right, could be detrimental to freedom of expression. So, there needs to be a balance. So, it also could be judged very subjective. I mean, my view is you have to educate the masses. Today, I think people are more secular than what they were. If you take certain racist organizations, they had platforms, they had political meetings, but they ended up with only about 10,000 votes. So people have rejected them. I mean, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, I don't think he's a racist, but he thought taking the hard line, right, would woo the hardline elements, and he thought these racist elements were needed for his election victory, and that's what's his failure. I mean, I know for a fact I was involved in the Grand Pass incident when a mosque was attacked.
Yes.
And I was in Aludgam and my vehicle was attacked. Yeah. I mean, the state did nothing, and when you inform, I mean, they feared that they didn't want to upset anybody because they were only thinking about their vote base, and they had a clear mindset that the minorities were not with them. They didn't want to reach out to them, and they thought with this racist line, they could win. The reason being that they won the war. And they thought that people would continue voting for them because they won the war. They didn't see they should realize in 2010, minorities also voted for President Mahinda Rajapaksa in a big way. But then, after the war, what did we expect? We thought the country would be secular. We all made statements. President Mahinda Rajapaksa made a statement that there is no majority or minority communities anymore. There's ones who love the nation and ones who hate the nation. But in practice, it was the reverse. So, I mean, I totally agree with what you said. More has to be done, but compared to what has happened in the past, I think this government has been very progressive. And also, if you look at President Maithripala Sirisena, he's reaching out to the people in the north. He's continuously creating a dialogue between the south and the north. I mean, no other president would have taken steps to appoint Honorable Sambandhan as the leader of the opposition. We could have always got a SLFPA to be the leader of the opposition, but we opted for a national government, and we did not fear appointing the TNA from the TNA. I mean, how progressive has this country been from the time of from independence, right? If you look at the political structure now, the TNA voted for the budget. I mean, you didn't have this kind of political culture which is created now. Now earlier, if between the UMP or the SLFP or minority parties, I mean, they are part of a system. And I think that is what is needed, and I think the media has to also continuously have programs to, because our mindset, right? I mean, with all the social media earlier, before the election, right, against minorities, and some of the statements which were made, I mean, made minorities feel that they are not a part of the country. But today, His Excellency the President, the LTT, one of the LTT combatants, he came before his president. He was a suicide bomber or whatever. I mean, there was attempted assassination. There was assassination attempt on the president. Today, you could see. I mean, he worshipped the president. And I mean, what more compassion do you need from a president?
Minister Samarasinghe, is there good governance in the country?
Well, definitely, relatively speaking, I would say once again, since the election of the president, good governance has been given much more attention. We have not only talked about it, but we have taken certain steps towards achieving good governance in this country. The 19th Amendment was a major initiative which was pioneered, championed by the President and the Prime Minister.
Now, I'm posing the same question to Minister Mustafa. I want a yes or no. Is there good governance in the country, Minister Mustafa?
There is good governance.
A few weeks ago, we saw a Colombo-based parliamentarian allegedly abducting an individual, and she is now scot-free.
Can I just come in on something that you asked Faisal?
Yeah.
Earlier, I would like to add to what he outlined. Even in five-star democracies, so-called five-star democracies, I would qualify, there is these kinds of racist incidents. Whether we talk about India, whether we talk about, that's in our region, India, whether we talk about the US in the North American region, whether we talk about the UK in the European region, so on and so forth. I can give you umpteen number of incidents that have occurred in the recent past where racist elements have activated themselves and created this havoc that we despise. Now we have the same thing happening in Sri Lanka. Now that doesn't mean that it should be excused. I think it's fundamentally important that we put in place punitive measures. We take action when these incidents are occurring, so that the demonstration effect is created, so that others would think twice.
I think you said something very interesting.
Before resorting to this kind of action.
Minister Samarasinghe said something very interesting. But punitive measures should be taken against those who act and promote racist elements in the country. What happened recently with regard to a Colombo-based parliamentarian? The abduction that took place.
Well, obviously, there are contradictory views that are being
what is your view?
Put forward. Well, when it happened, I was not in the country, but I was informed by way of. I was informed by way of the media, and what I saw was really contradictory reports. There were some who were saying this lady didn't have anything to do with this incident. The larger majority said that action should be taken against this parliamentarian. I believe the police have activated themselves and they are in the process of looking into it. The Attorney General's office have called for the video of the press briefing that this lady parliamentarian participated in. So I hope something is done quickly, because this is unsettling.
Minister Mustafa, is this good governance in play?
Shamir, you can't judge justice by the media.
Is this good governance in play?
End of the day, Shamir, media sometimes, there are conflicting reports. I'm not a police officer.
You are a lawyer.
I'm a lawyer. But as a lawyer, how do you, there is an institution that ascertains the facts. That is the police and our court system. So we have to give time and space to the police to ascertain if, today somebody can make a complaint, the media can make a complaint against me. But then the police has to investigate. If there is satisfactory evidence against me, then I'll be taken into custody. If there is no, I mean, Sri Lanka has the rule of presumption of innocence.
Mr. Mustafa, it's interesting that you say that the police need time and space to ascertain the
I'm
facts,
not trying to hold a brief. I'm sorry. I think I withdraw that statement. What I'm trying to say is, media cannot adjudicate justice, and unfortunately, in certain occasions, you seem the media being the judge. Media can finish you off if you're guilty or not guilty. I mean, it's sometimes better to go to jail than what the punishment you get from the media. It's very unfortunate, because if somebody has done something wrong, there is a process, and if you are not satisfied what the police is doing, there's also you can file. An individual can go to court and get redress. So if somebody feels that the police is not doing their job properly, there is a procedure. Not being bashed by the media is not the. I mean, I'm not trying to hold a brief, right? I'm only saying this because I always wanted to make this statement somewhere. The media cannot adjudicate. It is the courts that adjudicate. Media can give a view. Always you can give a view on any matter, but
the
end of
media
the day,
can also report the facts.
Yeah, report the facts.
When those facts
But
are
I
not
also
being
tell you,
acted on, though,
Nadeem, can I tell
isn't
you,
it a matter of
if you
concern?
see facts, different channels report facts in different manner. So there are conflicting views expressed by the media. So if a police is going to adjudicate on what's telecasted or broadcasted in the media, I don't think. But then again, if somebody is getting scot-free because he or she is a politician, that is wrong. But Shamir, as a lawyer, I'm unable to comment except the fact that if the police is not doing their job properly, any citizen can go before courts and seek redress. So, I mean, that is my view of the matter.
Do you think that the police have been efficient in
So
this
there
matter?
is a police commission. There, one could go to the Attorney General's department and make a complaint. One could petition to the IGP. It is not the media, right? Media can express their view that the inquiry is not done with.
No, forget about the media, Mr. Mustafa. My question is, do you think that given the history of such incidents, even in the past, do you think that the Attorney General's
Nadir,
department
you
or
were
police
telling
are
me
doing
7 years
anything?
your case has not been investigated. So I mean there are lapses. I mean there are flaws in our system.
But she had a kangaroo court, Mr. Mustafa.
Sorry.
This lady.
That is. I mean,
Somebody's media
Farah,
report.
if she has had a kangaroo court, she should be dealt with.
Yes.
But whether she has had a kangaroo court or not, first has to be
But
established.
the point is,
I mean,
Minister Mustafa,
she
is there
left.
good governance in practice
there-
even after
I mean,
1 year?
I mean,
After President
Shamir,
Maithripala Sirisena
you as a
took office?
journalist, do you feel free? Do you feel that there is this country by the 19th Amendment, by the commissions which has been established? You also being a minority, don't you feel more secular when you live in this country? Did you also live in fear? I had issues when during the just before the election, with the way the country was moving to being a racist state. We were isolated internationally, right? And minorities felt very insecure in this country. A lot of my friends left, and now they want to come back. But give this government time and space. You're judging 9 years of President Mahinda Rajapaksa's or any other government's 5 or 6 years vis-a-vis 1 year of President Maithripala Sirisena. And for 1 year, no other president would have brought the 19th Amendment. And the 19th Amendment alone, right, is sufficient to establish that we are moving towards good governance.
Can I just say something?
Yes, Minister.
On this whole issue of good governance, I don't think you should take this term good governance in its absolute form. It's a relative thing. One has to compare the situation today with the situation that was prevailing in the previous administration, or for that matter, the situation in another country. I think when you look at this whole issue of good governance in a relative context, I would definitely very clearly say that we are moving in the right direction. There is a clear commitment that has been shown. There have been concrete steps taken in the last 1 year to achieve good governance. There's still further for us to travel on that road, and we are hopeful that we'll be able to travel that whole journey.
I just want to acknowledge the arrival of Venerable Athuliya Ratanathera, a parliamentarian. He's the chairman of the Jatikere Rumea as well as the chairman of the Pivithuru Hedak organization. Venerable Ratanathera, you played a pivotal role in terms of ensuring there was good governance in the country. You were one of the individuals, one of the pioneering individuals who went to the streets and criticized the former regime. Are you satisfied the way in which things have progressed?
Some way I can satisfy, some way I can't satisfy. It is as he tell, it is very comparative. We compare with previous government, previous regime time, and what we having, what situation we are having now. People are very sensitive now. Any incidents they expose to the media, they freely discuss. Then there are a lot of arguments, and any policies we can implement. As a Buddhist monk, not as a monk, as a I highly appear for good governance, and if I want to implement something, there is a space. I can give many examples what I am doing now.
Minister Samar Singh, you said something very interesting at the start of your speech. You said your allegiance was to President Mahinda Rajapaksa as the SLFP chairman, and then you switched your allegiance to President Maithripala Sirisena. Do you see a difference in leadership?
Oh, very definitely. This is why President Maithripala Sirisena, in a very short period of time, has been receiving the kind of recognition that leaders usually receive after a long period of time. I mean, this 1 year that he has been the president of this country, the acceptance that he has received from the international community is huge. And this acceptance, I believe, this endorsement, I believe, is good for the country. For example, the reception that he receives when he goes overseas. I was with him last September when he went to New York to attend the UN General Assembly. I have also gone with President Mahinda Rajapaksa. I can compare the difference. When I went with President Mahinda Rajapaksa, I saw with my own eyes the difficulty we were having in securing appointments to meet other leaders. Now with President Mahinda Rajapaksa, we didn't have the time to accommodate the number of leaders who wanted to meet him. When the UN Secretary General had his traditional lunch for the world leaders who were there during that high-level segment, President Maithripala Sirisena was given a seat at the head table. That has never happened. A small country like Sri Lanka has never enjoyed that kind of acceptance. And he was rubbing shoulders with the likes of President Obama, President Putin, the Chinese president, and so on and so forth. When he went to the UK, we saw the Queen of England giving him 45 minutes on a one-to-one basis. Now, our previous presidents or leaders have never enjoyed that kind of opportunity. When he went to number 10 Downing Street to meet Prime Minister Cameron, Prime Minister came up to the car, greeted him, took him inside. When he went to India, we saw the reception he got from Prime Minister Modi. When he went to China, we saw the reception he got from the President of China. And during the last Christmas season, now Christmas is a very, very busy period for the Catholics. We saw an invitation extended to him during this busiest period by the Pope, His Holiness the Pope, who received him, who spoke with him. Now, this Pope is a center of influence today in a very short period of time. Like President Maithripala Sirisena, he has been able to capture the imagination of a large number of not only Catholics but 33% of the population in this world are Christians, and non-Christians have also looked up to him and sought his advice on many occasions. We have seen leaders of countries who have gone and sought advice from him. So this is the kind of connection that the president has been able to establish in a very short period of time because of his actions. I emphasize that word, actions.
Venerable Thera, you said that you are satisfied and not satisfied at the same time. What is the reason for you not being satisfied with the present regime?
It is, I think, as a government, we have to understand now which kind of government we form. It is really actually national government. Any side they can't take the decision, and we always take the decision as a national government. Then at the budget time there are so many controversial things happen. As I deeply consider on environmental issue, I think you know also. I am very keen, but we increase the taxation of the electric car. It is, and also we reduce the price of Tirupati
Wheat flour.
Wheat flour. Why? Then we are coming next harvesting time, biggest harvesting time. Then we hope very big amount of rice production. Then what happened to our farmers when we reduce the reduce of wheat flours?
Thank you very much, Venerable Authority Ratanathera. We go in for a short commercial break. When we come back, we speak of the last 1 year. Where were mistakes committed? And what is the way forward for a country like Sri Lanka? All this and more after this short commercial break. Stay connected, stay with Face the Nation. Welcome back. This is Face the Nation. We start off third round with Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, Faiza Mustafa. Minister Mustafa, you said you spoke against impunity, you spoke for good governance. However, we saw during the last few months or so a very high level minister, a top ranking minister of your government, appointing his brother to an establishment which is governed under his wing. And we saw this particular minister again who locked horns with one of his brothers, contesting a recent poll as well, the famous elections that was conducted on the 3rd of January this year. Why aren't you talking about all this now? Why are you silent? Is it because you are in power now, Minister?
I'm not silent, Shamir.
You are observing now.
No, I mean, he appointed his brother. I mean, it's better if he did not do so. But if, end of the day, if that institution is running productively, that's the primary concern. But I would never appoint my brother in any institution. But
this is what President Mahinda Rajapaksa also said. I am appointing my brothers because I have confidence in them.
Shamir, but when it came to the cricket board election, both brothers contested, both brothers lost. So, I mean, try to do the same mistake twice. Right? But then again, the issue is, Shamir, appointing the brother per se, I wouldn't look at it from that point of view.
My point is, this is what exactly was said prior to the presidential elections. When President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that I'm appointing my brother as the defense secretary of this country, I have confidence in him. When I'm appointing the Minister of Economic Development, Basil Rajapaksa, to this position, I have confidence in him. And we see the same thing repeated.
Can I interrupt, Shamir? President Mahinda Rajapaksa appointing Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the defense secretary, I think helped us during the war, right? But then when he appointed Honorable Basil Rajapaksa and power was centralized, that's where when things went wrong. But I think Gotabaya Rajapaksa also played a role during the war, and it helped. There was no communication gap. The issue, Shamir, I mean, it's very easy to don't appoint your brother, don't appoint your sister, That's not the issue. I mean, by appointing, is there family bandism? Are we moving away from being transparent? Now you ask me, Honorable Arjuna Ranatunga appointing his brother to the post.
I did not name
No, I mean, let us be very straight about it. I mean, I don't see anything wrong about it. But by appointing his brother, if there is mismanagement, I mean, if there are issues in the port, other than his brother being appointed, nobody is pointing a finger and saying that there is irregularities in the port, there is lack of transparency in the port. So I mean, one can't find fault. But then you ask me the second question. I mean, we are a democratic country. You contested an election. People thought that you should continue holding a ministry and not holding office in a sports body. That's a different issue. So I mean, everybody has their viewpoint. I mean, just because. So I mean, your question, Shamir, you asked me. I mean, good governance and appointing your brother per se is not an issue, Shamir. But if you appoint your brother and you do not run the institution properly, that is where the issue is.
Thank you very much, Minister Faisal Mustafa. Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government. I recollect on the 9th of January last year, when I was hosting the election program of MTV and BC, I told everyone that we will always stand by the people no matter what happens. We will stand by them today. We have stood by the people yesterday, and we will stand by the people definitely tomorrow as well. And these questions are posed to the panelists today because we want to be the eyes and ears of the public. I now move on to Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe, who is the Minister of Skills Development and Vocational Training. Minister Samarasinghe, you carried out a yeoman service during the 2009, 2010, 2011 sessions at the UNHRC. You in fact played a big role, played a vital role, and I in fact interviewed you a couple of times as well on the government's role. You made very interesting remarks at the UNHRC sessions. You said those inside glass houses should not throw stones, and now here you are crossing sides, and you're talking so high about the international community coming and embracing the present president. What is this shift in policy?
No, I don't see a contradiction in what I said and what I'm saying and doing now. I'll explain that later, but I want to add to what Faisal just said about the appointments of kith and kin, family bandism and so on and so forth. I think you have to look at it in this context. The acts of parliament that govern institutions that come under ministers give the prerogative of appointing chairman, vice chairman, board members to the minister. The cabinet minister has that power. Now, one can exercise it in the context of sourcing the best person. If it's ports, for example, the Ministry of Ports, you can source someone who has the necessary experience, whose nomination will not be challenged, or you can appoint your brother. Right? That's a prerogative that has been given by way of the law of this country. Right? Now, I think the way out of this whole thing is to empower civil society more. I think the lacuna here, the shortcoming here, is that in our country, civil society is not empowered enough to get up and say, this is wrong. Right? Civil society should be in a position, should be empowered and be in a position to challenge these kinds of appointments, even if the legal position is that the minister has the prerogative of appointing whoever he wants. Now that pressure should be so powerful that not only the minister but the political party that the minister is put forward by or belongs to takes a decision that this is not on. We are losing votes. The people of this country are against this appointment. So just because you have trust in your brother or your sister, this is not on. Right? We can't be penalized because of this kind of a decision. Now, on the other hand, if the brother or sister that the minister appoints has the necessary qualifications to hold that job, then civil society, which hopefully will be responsible, will go into it and say, this is fine. You know, although it is a brother or sister of the minister, this person has the necessary qualifications to hold this job and deliver. So I think we have a lot of work to do in this government, and I think this is tied to good governance as well, to empower civil society. I think the Freedom of Information Bill that will be presented shortly will be one vehicle through which we can empower civil society. I think giving more media freedom, strengthening the media is another way to ensure that civil society is empowered. So there are a variety of steps.
Minister, I'm not going to ask you about the shift in policy now because the time is up. However, I'm going to ask another question.
I did avoid answering that question.
A follow-up question to what you spoke of with regard to appointing the brother of a minister. After the 17th of August this year, you were there present at the Cabinet of Ministers when appointment letters were handed out by the President. Recollect?
You mean as ministers?
As minister?
Yes.
And the President made a statement there saying that those who would be appointed to the post of chairman, secretaries to institutes, will have to go through a board that would be headed by the President and the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And this did not happen with regard to the Ports Ministry.
I don't know. You have to ask the Minister of Ports.
But you said the prerogative is
no. I'm talking about the
minister.
legal position. I'm talking about the law. The law says that it's the minister who appoints to positions such as chairman of the Ports Authority. But notwithstanding that, there was an internal decision that was taken that there would be a committee appointed by the President and the Prime Minister, and all nominations should be first sent to that committee.
Was that a broken promise?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's something I can't answer. But as far as I'm concerned, my ministry, I sent each and every appointment that I made first to the committee. It was approved, and only after that I exercised my prerogative of
Thank you very much, Minister Mahinda Samarsinghe. I now move on to Venerable Athulariya Ratanathera, Chairman of the JHU. Played a very vital role in the change of governance in this country. He was very vocal. We have with him today on our show as well. Venerable Ratanathera, what is your thoughts on the matters that was discussed now? Impunity, appointing brothers to posts. We saw several weeks ago, several days ago, a Colombo-based parliamentarian allegedly abducting a youth in Dematagoda. They were only released on bail yesterday. A lot of developments have taken place. Do you think that there's good governance in Sri Lanka now?
According to the Buddhist text, we live in very Pruthajjana people, very individualistic minded people. All are very selfish. It is normal. You and me and others, we are not become enlightened or become arahatahood. As a common people, there are so many faults could be happen. Then we question that what could happen after doing something. Now I think already very big media exposure. Legal process is going on, and I think we compare with other. We compare with former government. I think we can see the transparency. It is very important.
How do you think, Venerable Ratanathera, that Sri Lanka has to move forward? You said that there were many mistakes committed during the last 1 year.
Yes,
how can we move forward?
I think it is not ideal government. I think this one is really transitional government. What is the meaning of the transitional government? This period we can do better things. We have to feed the government. Some, there are so many groups, so many elements, so many thoughts, as a government we can see some are from SLFE, and we are from JHU, and other from Conservative Party, from UNP. There are so many attitudes, so many viewpoints, and however we work together, which we can agree now. I think at this moment we agree to reform what we can agree as a common. And then we do, already we implemented 19th Amendment. It is very important for the future. One person who handle everything, executive presidency is exercising the world in France or Germany or America, but here we are very unethical, uncivilized experience we have been in newly, and also after the introducing executive presidency, there are so many unethical things happen in history also, and we show very ugly situation, very uncivilized situation last 5-6 years. And I think that now is finally I want to tell you this is the transitional period. We have to do many reforms, and also we have to implement some national policies to the education and health, and also we can understand some burning issues like in agricultural sector. Most of farmers, half of the farmers are in debt. Their land is not owned there, and so we have to give some reforms for eradication powers and introduce some policies, and also we have to consider in world situation now.
Thank you very much, Venerable Authority Ratanathera. I open the floor for questions from our journalists, but before that, Minister, the question that you ducked before. Shift in policy.
I must tell you again,
you did duck that question.
I was not mindful of the
unfortunately,
time.
I have to believe that you did duck that question.
But
so, shift in policy.
No, let me get straight to that question. Yes, I said that, and I said that not as Mahinda Samarasinghe. I said that as the leader of the delegation of Sri Lanka at a particular session of the Human Rights Council. Now, I go there to represent the country. I speak on behalf of the country. I speak on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka. Now, when we notice certain ambassadors of different countries, I don't want to mention the countries, putting forward observations that are not factual, that are distorted, that we know came from pro-LTT lobbyists who are always there when the Human Rights Council sessions start, or certain civil society representatives who are not mindful of the country's image but have a very narrow parochial agenda that they try to play out in places like that for personal benefit. Now, I mean, I'm not passing judgment on all civil society representatives, but there were few who had very extremist views, who had political agendas behind the actions that they took whenever Sri Lanka was being discussed. And in that kind of a situation, I have to respond. I'm in the chair there, I have to respond. And one of the things that I said was, don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. And that was in effect saying, you also have a lot of problems. You're not a person who is qualified to say things about other countries. Put your house in order first, and then come and tell us.
Minister Samarasinghe, you know this game quite well. You know this game quite well. However, we saw just a few weeks ago the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Central and South Asia visiting Sri Lanka on an unannounced visit. What is going on in the country? Why are we opening our doors to the international community? An unannounced visit. What does this portray?
I don't think it was an unannounced visit.
The media was not aware certainly about it, Minister Samarasinghe.
Not everything comes to the media. I mean, if the foreign minister is approached by the ambassador of a country, a friendly nation.
She was on a private visit meeting high-ranking officials of the government.
No. She was not on a private visit. She was on an official visit. We knew that she was coming. It may not have been, leaked to the media, but that's once again the prerogative of the foreign ministry.
Minister Samarasinghe?
Pardon?
Is the country at stake, Minister Samarasinghe?
Not at all. I mean, what is happening today is that we have been able to reach out to those countries who had a distorted picture of Sri Lanka. I always maintain that we should not put all our eggs in one basket, that there are other players, there are more powerful players than whom we were quoting during that time, that we should reach out to them, especially India. I always felt was of paramount importance to Sri Lanka. The US, the most powerful nation in this world, was of paramount importance. Europe was of paramount importance. Now we distance ourselves deliberately from these powerful players in the international arena. And what has happened today is that with the president being elected and a new government being formed, we have been able to reach out to those countries, and we are now getting along much better with them. They understand us better. Samantha Power, whom you just mentioned, came to Sri Lanka. What did she say? She said President Maithripala Sirisena should be an example to African and Asian leaders. Now that's a very powerful statement. When someone like Samantha Power, who is the permanent representative of the US at the United Nations, says something like that, it is not only for domestic consumption. Every permanent representative who are powerful entities who are accredited to the United Nations notice that kind of a statement, and they then look at Sri Lanka in a much more beneficial manner than what they have been doing in the past. So these kinds of things are happening today because of the progressive actions that are being taken by our government.
Shamir, may I be permitted to add something
yes,
else?
Minister Mustafa.
President Maithripala Sirisena in cabinet and elsewhere very clearly says he will not sell ourselves to any foreign forces. He's been continuously saying that. So any foreign country, any official from any foreign country visiting Sri Lanka should not cause any fear, because President Maithripala has been very clear about it. He will not allow any foreign intervention, and he will not be influenced by any foreign forces. And also on the question you asked, Mahinda Samarasinghe, I would like to add this. I also have been to Geneva. Whatever issues we have here, even if we see that certain things are not done proper, when we go to Geneva, our country is at stake, and we all try to do the best for our country. So when whatever Mahinda Samarasinghe stated in Geneva was done in the benefit of Sri Lanka in the international forum. Even though there were issues domestically, and even if we have issues, we don't go abroad and speak about it. We go and try to project a picture to get the best for our country.
Gentlemen, Swamin Wahansa, I understand that tomorrow in Parliament there will be a proposal for the establishment of a constituent assembly to focus on redrawing the constitution or drafting a new constitution for the country. What does this mean for legislation like the 13th Amendment or the proposed 20th Amendment? Are we going to scrap all of that and start from scratch, or will we be considering all of this?
It's not a constituent, it's a constitutional assembly.
Constitutional assembly.
It's a committee, right, where the whole members of parliament would sit. Because if you use the words constituent assembly, it's a committee of the whole house. It's a committee of the whole house. If you were the constituent assembly, you're going back to 1972. We're moving away from the constitutional process. Here we are following a constitutional process, and we are sitting as a select committee to decide what's best.
But will this committee will it be what will be the fate of legislation like?
Can I come in on that, because I was involved in the discussions in the past 2 or 3 days, where we're meeting very often with the UMP and other political party leaders. This is a resolution that will be presented by the Prime Minister to put in place a mechanism for constitutional reform, right? So I don't think we should jump the gun and say this is going to be looked at, that is going to be looked at. The 225 members of parliament will come together. The well of the house itself will be used to debate issues. It will be done in a transparent manner. The media will be there. The public can come and witness what is being discussed. Then there is a mechanism to put in place a steering committee that will be headed by the Prime Minister and other party leaders and representatives, which will steer the whole process. And then finally, there will be also various subcommittees that will be appointed as per the standing orders of the which governs the procedure of the House, the Parliament, and finally there will be a report that will be presented by the standing committee to the committee of the whole House. And what the Prime Minister suggested and what we accept is that if there is a 2/3 majority that would be given to such a report, it is only then that the Prime Minister will take it to Cabinet, so that legislation will be framed, and as per the present constitution, steps will be taken to bring it before Parliament, and with the 2/3 and plus referendum if
Minister,
need be,
Minister
it will be adopted.
In your opinion,
Yeah.
is the committee system in Parliament functional? You spoke about the standing orders of Parliament. I want to come to that because that was also part of the 100-day program. Do you believe that the committee system in Parliament is functioning? Because you spoke about appointments to various high posts. I'm curious to know how many of the appointments since as ambassadors since January 8, 2015 to now, how many of those appointments were approved by the High Post Committee in Parliament?
Well, I don't know the exact number, but the High Post Committee sits. And
It sits?
It sits and it deliberates on these nominations, not only ambassadors and high commissioners, but secretaries of ministries and, high public officials.
The chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, is that an
Yeah.
appointment that would be considered by the High Post Committee in Parliament?
Definitely, and I want to add that the High Post Committee does not consist of only members of the government.
It's also, yeah, it's a multi-party.
It's a multi-party
Parliament and opposition.
forum, so there is the opposition members also there. And if the government sees fit to nominate someone, it's incumbent on the opposition to
So was the-
challenge it if need be and put forward their observations, their viewpoints, and
Was
then
the
a decision
appointment
would be
of
taken.
was the appointment of the current chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority approved by the High
I'm
Post
sorry, I
Committee?
can't tell you that, but maybe it has, maybe it has not. It may be still in the backlog. But for your personal benefit, I'll look at it tomorrow and
Thank
let
you
you
very much,
know.
Minister. If it's in the backlog, then it's a very big problem, Minister.
No.
For us,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
I think this question is to both you gentlemen ministers. You have been talking about good governance and so on. Can you tell me, can you achieve good governance without solving the central bank bond issue, the avant-garde matter, the highways project, the appointment of family members, this nepotism that you all touched on? So all this is forgotten. And this is only in the first year. So what awaits us in the next 4.5 years?
That issue is being dealt with. The central bank questions, Faraz, you've been continuously
Asking only because you all are not resolving
No, sir,
it.
that's a
The
process.
Prime Minister is
I mean, that-
misleading the Republic.
That's your view, right?
yeah, it is.
that's not
So-
the view. That's not the view of Faraz, Minister.
Okay,
Mustafa. That's
okay.
the view
But what
of the
what I'd
general
like to
public
say
of
is-
this nation.
You see,
People
sorry, can I just sort that out
Yeah.
once and for all? Because
Yeah.
the Prime Minister says in Parliament, he has said that he is going to look into all the bond issues since the time that Mr. Cabral came to be at the central bank, in the Rajapaksa years in short. However, this so-called system of private placement, as the Prime Minister erroneously refers to it continuously, started in 1998. So is he going to investigate it all since 1998?
But Faraz, I know that
Oh,
there's a
isn't-
criminal investigation with regard to these bond issues presently pending.
There's
right?
no criminal investigation. The Prime Minister has promised to look into it. He appointed
but
3 members of
I
his
know,
party.
I know, but also I believe that, I read it in the media as well, but I'm also aware of it. There is a criminal investigation. With regard to the avant-garde issue, the President terminated the contract.
Right.
And there is also investigation in place.
So do we know, are we going to be told whether Avantgarde is going to actually repay the monies to the Republic?
So there's a legal process for us. It's easy for the media to raise issues, but
It's
then
very difficult because it
unfortunate-
takes a lot of time and effort to
unfortunately
find
for
out
us,
these things.
It's easy to ask a question,
Yeah.
right? But the legal process where the wrongdoers dealt with, our legal process takes a couple of years. So
But
we have to
it's-
find a solution. Otherwise, the media will be, even when a case is going on, to continuously ask that question. Investigations, unfortunately, in this country take a little time. But I believe the issues which you raised are presently being investigated. But you can always say that investigations are not being carried out properly. That's a view which you have continuously been expressed. But I also, I mean,
The bond, there's nothing happening on the bond.
If these issues can be expeditiously dealt with, I'm sure you'll have less issues in asking this question.
Venerable Ratanathera, I want to pose a question for a minute. I want to pose a question to Ratanathera as well, Nadim. The same question that you posed to the ministers, Faraz. I want to pose the same question to Venerable Ratanathera in a different form. You are very vocal, Venerable Thera. You speak out when there's corruption, when there's nepotism. You've spoken out about these issues over the last few years or so. Why are you silent now? What is the reason for this?
I think silence is also a big voice.
Silence is a big voice, but do you think that you are reaching the right people?
Last when you examine in my activities in last 5-6 years, normally I do not talk always, but occasionally when the moment arise, then I against the what unethical law, corruption or whatever matter.
So what about the bond issue? Doesn't that bother you?
I think that I have also criticism on that topic, but I do not like to discuss this matter on this table. I personally spoke to our Prime Minister and also actually the President, and I think I do not like to discuss in detail about that. I have my own view, and personally and ministerial level I explained that, and my criticism vocally I expressed.
What about the highways? It's in the manifesto. They say that this company had paid out, that only 10% was the actual work and 90% was corrupt. But then the Prime Minister issues a cabinet memo in which he says that there can't be any unsolicited bids, and yet he then goes and awards the same contract to the same company for essentially the same amount of money. So where's the good governance?
Can I maybe?
Yeah, I think he, as a minister, he can explain in detail.
I should, because I know that you have all the files hidden there.
Yes.
Which you are prepared to take any time. So
Not today.
I know that you are very well. I know that you are very well informed. But
Right,
let me tell you this: as far as this decision on not entertaining unsolicited proposals is concerned,
30th of
it
March.
was no. I know there was a decision taken, and that was actually taken and sent to the ministers, the respective ministers, with a procedure to be followed.
Right.
If there were unsolicited proposals coming
But
from a
days
ministry,
later, the Prime Minister didn't follow the same procedure.
No. I'll tell you what the procedure is.
Okay.
When an unsolicited proposal comes, usually what happened in the past is that the minister would take it to cabinet and get cabinet approval. Now that has been stopped. There is a committee, the Economic Affairs Subcommittee, that is headed by the Prime Minister, consisting of members from both parties, not only the UMP but also the SLFP. Then there's also the National Planning Division of the Finance Ministry. Then there's the External Resources Department, that is also part of the Finance Ministry. Now all these three forums have to be approached and approvals taken from all these three forums, which will then go into this unsolicited proposal and evaluate it on the basis of whether it is beneficial for the country or not.
So that whole process happened.
We have not closed the door. We have not closed the door for unsolicited proposals. You can't do that.
Right, okay.
I mean, there could be good proposals that would come, but then what has happened is that there is a procedure that has been put into place, and if that procedure is followed and approvals are received, then there is a cabinet paper that is present.
I think, Minister, my question really is focusing on the re-awarding of the contract to the same company for the same segment for the same amount of money, in spite of the Prime Minister saying initially that we saved that through stiffer negotiation that they saved 30 billion rupees, and then suddenly it's come down to 8 billion, and there is no coherent, comprehensive explanation.
Well, maybe the merits and demerits of the unsolicited proposal would have been gone into professionally, and a decision would have been taken to award it to the same person. I don't know. I don't know this particular case that you're referring to, but there is a procedure
Sonali?
that is in
I'll
place.
send you the file
Yeah,
tomorrow.
please do.
Sonali.
Venerable Athurali Ratanathera, Buddhism is a very peaceful religion, but you as a religious leader belonging to the so-called majority community are aware of certain efforts that are taking place in different pockets of Colombo, outskirts, of racist elements trying to spread religious disturbances, communal violence, etc. Small incidents happening. My question to you is, Hamdurane, don't you believe that religious leaders have a greater role to play in bringing together communities? Should we not take greater efforts at all levels? Not just the government, not just NGOs, INGOs, but also religious leaders getting together and forming think tanks. There are so many ways of doing it to bring about communal togetherness. Your thoughts?
Yes, actually very good question you raised. Whatever country, wherever there are so many religious unharmful incidents, if we consider in India, concentrate on India, there are so many incidents happen in India based on some religious aspects. And even in France, even in America also you can see some magazines and some internet information, you can get it. Compare with other countries, I think especially new regime, according to my knowledge, there is no any specific religious conflict in here now.
But certain groups are trying to create it.
Who is creating? I don't know. I don't have any responsibility to who done any activities. But as an organization, I get responsibility. Any organization who conducted us, there are so many front organization. We give guidance and advice, and I don't think we do not involve any harmful religious activities in country, especially last 10-20 years in my lifetime. Under the war period, we against the terrorism only. If you can tell any specific incident, you can tell me what I involved. Especially, I can tell you now we 2-3 years ago, no 5 years ago, under the former government's period, we formed Hindu-Buddhist cultural forum. Already we had done many activities under this body, and now we are having a very good dialogue with Hindus and Buddhists. And also last 10 years we worked with some progressive Christian groups against some bad social entities. And so I think under this government there is no any harmful religious activities to destroy any church or disturb any their teachings and their activities. I think that if you have any specific incidents, tell me, I can.
Sonal, you want to pose a question to the Venerable Thera in Sinhalese? You can do so now.
Shamir, I think I'd like to also clarify, last week, Nugegoda Kotte areas, Nadim, correct me if I'm wrong, faced an incident where certain communities...
which community? Certain communities, which?
Nadim, you have to have, Sonal, you have to have substantial evidence when you're posing a question.
Substantial evidence.
It is very important because we don't want to...
Who is the group?
No. this wasn't a particular group as such. This was certain
Buddhist group?
individuals. This is certain individuals who got together and painted racially. Nadim, how do I put it? You need to help me out here.
No, Sonali,
Racially disturbing, Shamir,
yeah.
racially
You have to-
disturbing
yes.
statements.
Who is disturbed by Buddhist? Who done?
who did this?
Who?
Yes, Sinhala Buddhist, certain Sinhala Buddhist individuals had painted.
Sinhala Buddhist individuals
Sonali,
under the
Sonali,
organization
I
or
want,
individually?
Venerable Thera, I think we don't have substantial evidence to prove that claim, whether it was painted by a certain
Especially,
group.
I want to tell you,
yes,
please, I want to
Venerable
tell you,
Thera.
I don't know what you are asking
Absolutely
me.
correct, Venerable
If
Thera.
there is any bad behavior on anyone who against the religious harmony or anything, I against them. Really,
Very true.
I can appear for.
I think Venerable Ratna,
That's very important.
I can
That's
remember an
absolutely
incident
correct.
where some Muslims were involved, had some issue, and Venerable Ratna came to their rescue in solving the issue. I think Venerable Ratna has always been in the forefront in having communal harmony. So I think the question which you raised, that there were anywhere in any part there are elements which cause problems. So I think sometimes you get elements pretend to be a separate community and creating racial disturbance. So I think
All
overall,
the gentlemen,
overall,
to place it
I
on
think
record, Venerable Ratna Thera, Minister Faisal Mustafa, Minister Mahinda Samar Singh has always ensured that Sri Lanka is on the right track. And thank you very much.
And Shamir, I think the issue is we are
for
more
that.
secular than what we
Please,
were,
please.
and
Absolutely
also I
correct.
think.
FCA explain what is the incident.
No, I think
I
you are
agree with
referring
you,
to a very
Venerable
isolated
Thera.
incident, Shamir.
That's a few incidents cannot be deemed and taken into account, and that is not the way to judge a particular government. Thank you very much, Venerable Thera, for explaining this. But my final question to you is going to be in Sinhalese to get a bit of more closure as to what this government is doing. We're going for a short commercial break. When we come back, it's the final round. This is Face the Nation. Welcome back. This is Face the Nation. We start off the final round with Venerable Athuruli Ratanathera, Chairman of the JHU as well as the Pivthuru Hetak organization. Venerable Thera, you said that you are silent on most of the matters, and this is itself is a strong message to those who need some sort of answers. What got us here won't get us there. You being silent will take us to the next level. First question.
Yeah, I want to tell you, I am not silent. I am very highly active. Some fields, especially I involved with sustainable agriculture, and also I highly involved with environmental protection and reduce carbon emission, and so many environmental activities locally and internationally also. And I want to tell you, I want to tell you again, you can examine me in the previous government. I have to lot of criticism, but as now I am in government, and I entered the parliament under the national list. If I criticism openly government, then I have to come out from the parliament. Then when the occasion come, it should be done. I do it, but I think that I explained to you, now we are in transitional period. We try to do something with the government, give some reforms, especially we want to change the electoral system. It is very important because we have mandate with the people, and also we want to introduce some structural reforms on some sectors, especially we want to change our educational system. It is very important, and also our power and energy. It is very important because we already got the mandate for two parties by at the previous election time. We got the mandate to change the our power system. Especially we explain our manifesto. We are going to completely renewable energies, and also under our president's mandate, he also gave the promise to people going to the sustainable agricultural system. Already we already done something. We already banned glyphosate. It is very important for country.
Thank you very much, Venerable Rathanthera. I've always wanted to ask you a question in Sinhalese, so I'm going to take this opportunity to pose a question to you in Sinhalese. සිංහල ව්‍යවහාරයේ තියෙනවා හාමුදුරනේ නඩුත් හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ බඩුත් හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ කියලා. හැබැයි මම මේ අහන්නන්නේ මඩුව හාමුදුරුවන්ගේ නෙමෙයි නේද? මේ රජය ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ කුමන විලාසයෙන්ද ඉදිරි ගමන ගැන ඉදිරි ක්‍රියාකලාපය ගැන හිතද්දී. Very 30 seconds only I want your answer for that.
I want, you want to reply in Sinhalese?
In Sinhalese, yes.
All right, very good. It is very favorable. හරිම ලේසි.
කියන හාමුදුරුවනේ.
මම හිතන්නේ මේ ආණ්ඩුව දෙස අපි බැලිය යුත්තේ සංක්‍රමණීය ආණ්ඩුවක් හැටියට. ඒතකොට ඒකේ නරක දේවලු සිද්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. වෙමින් තියෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. නමුත් අපි බලන්න ඕන හොඳ දේවල් කරලා නරක දේට වඩා හොඳ දේ කරලා ඒක ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියන්න. ඉතින් යම් යම් සිද්ධිය හෝ මම හිතන්නේ ඒවා මහා විශාල සිද්ධි කියලා. නමුත් ඒවා පිළිබඳ තියෙන විවේචන දැනටමත් මම අගමැතිතුමාට හා ජනාධිපතිතුමාට කියලා තියෙනවා. දැනට අභ්‍යන්තරිකව කියන්නේ අපිට අවශ්‍ය මම හිතන්නේ හොඳ දේවල් කරලා නරක දේට වඩා ජාතික ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් හැටියට අපි ඉස්සරහට යනකොට නරක දේ මගහරව ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා.
බොහොම ස්තුතියි හාමුදුරනේ. Thank you very much, Venerable Athuri Rathanthera, JHU chairman as well as the chairman of the Pivot Hedak organization. I now move on to Minister Faiza Mustafa. Minister Mustafa, you've done a very big role in terms of the conduct of the present president is concerned. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution, what happened with regard to the issues surrounding the Central Committee. You played a very big role, and many people are aware of all these issues that has taken place in the country, that has taken center stage. What is the way forward, Minister Mustafa? Be very honest and tap to your conscience and answer me this question.
I always work according to my conscience, and I always taken decisions according to my conscience. I think a lot has to be done, but I believe we have done a lot for 1 year, Shamir. With regard to issues have been raised with regard to the legal process. I mean, Faraz raised issues about certain allegations he's making that they have to be dealt with properly. So I think with the police commission being set up, with independence of the judiciary being established, if anybody is not happy with any process, they could always challenge it in court with regard to a tender, with regard to a decision. So it's unfortunate that at sometimes the media, they make a song and dance about it, but it's nice if they could also take the next step of going to court and challenging that decision so that that decision could be reversed. Otherwise it will be rhetoric for a continuous period of time. So Shamir, I believe that the 19th Amendment would change the manner in which the government conducts itself. Earlier the main issue, if you do not have an independent judiciary, I mean, that puts the country backward. Then again, if a country is not secular, I mean, America has achieved so much. We have a colored president there. India has had a minority president, but we are very far from that. But I think today, the president is creating a mindset that we truly believe as a Sri Lankan. He's visiting the north and the east. You see the amount of development which the previous regime, Usuru Vasante, and a lot of money was spent. But at the election, we did not win their hearts and minds. But today, I think the way the country is progressing, minorities feel that they are part of Sri Lanka. And also, it's a very integrated approach, and there is a people to people's dialogue within the north and the south, and that is what is important. And also this national government concept, us moving away for 2 years from a very confrontational approach. Otherwise everything what the UMP does is bad, or if there is a SLP government, the UMP would bash the SLP. Today both parties, in the budget there are issues which I am not happy, but there was a compromise. We met the Prime Minister and we raised various issues, and he undertook to rectify certain matters, and we have now and we believe that those issues will be dealt with. I think Honorable Mahinda Samarasinghe also part, because when the budget was presented, it was amended many a time.
Thank you very much, Minister Mustafa. I have to stop you,
Thank you.
there, unfortunately. I now move on to Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe, Minister of Skills Development and Vocational Training. Minister Samarasinghe, tomorrow is yet another big day for Sri Lanka, tomorrow in Parliament. What can we as Sri Lankans envisage in terms of changing this country's constitution? Will the executive presidency be abolished? The time starts now.
Well, I think we are in a very enviable situation in that for the first time in our political history, the two major parties who have ruled this country have come together and formed a government of national unity. And that says it all. Political stability is firmly entrenched. Political stability, as you know, is a prerequisite for rapid economic development. So we are now in the process of consolidating the economic benefits that would result from this alliance of the two major political parties in this country. The government consists of ministers from both these political parties, and we have in our mind very firmly entrenched the fact that there is collective responsibility in whatever we do. We are both responsible and answerable to Parliament. We have a president who is getting huge recognition, positive recognition internationally, that is working well for Sri Lanka. The economic forum that the Prime Minister organized a couple of days ago, we had the 20th richest person in the world, George Soros, coming to Sri Lanka as saying, the way I look at Sri Lanka today is very positive because there is a national government in place. The two major political parties have come together to reconstruct and develop the economy. And added to that, we saw at the last debate, when the budget was presented and the vote was taken, for the first time in the history of our political history, every Tamil MP, every Muslim MP voted with the government on the budget. 159 votes were received, and all minority members of Parliament for the first time in the political history of the country voted with the government. So we have won the confidence by and large of the minority community of this minority communities of this country. And what is important, what I want to leave behind is that never forget that Sri Lanka is a multicultural, multilingual, multi-religious, multi-ethnic community. If we can protect and nurture this diversity that we have in this country, which is our richest resource, I think we can move towards comprehensive reconciliation very
Thank you very much, Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe. I think what you referred to was no MP was bought over this time around when the two-thirds majority was made in Parliament. Thank you very much, Venerable Athuriri Ratanathera, for joining us this evening on our show. Thank you very much, Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe, as well as Minister Faizal Mustafa, for joining us. You all two have been regular guests on this show. Thank you again on the first year anniversary of the President transition as far as the political culture is concerned. Thank you very much again, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Thank you very much, Nadeem. Thank you very much, Sonali. Thank you very much, Faraz. The questions that we pose here on our show is totally based on the questions that we are to ask on behalf of the public, that is you staying at home, and it's being posed with a genuine interest for the betterment of this nation, for the betterment of this country. I want to leave you tonight with a quote. Let us never forget that government is ourselves and not an alien power over us. The ultimate rulers of our democracy are not the president, senators or congressmen, as said by former US President Roosevelt. He also says that the voters of the nation, the voters of a country, are the true rulers of democracy. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Take care and good night. Same place, same time next week, tomorrow. Face the nation. Good night.